Happy little tree there, happy little bush, happy little crowds. Hello, my cuties, and welcome to another video. This video specifically, you recognize that sound? Oh, that little, yes, Bob Ross. Hello again, my cutie patooties. If you recognize this sound, yes, you know the sound that makes from a particular person, Bob Ross. And yes, I have my hair curly today in honor of Bob Ross. Now, let's get to the video. Now, in 2013, a pair of enterprising YouTubers, yes, YouTubers, decided to pit two artists together against one another in a fictional rap battle. One side was an actor portraying Pablo Picasso, perhaps the globe's most acclaimed painter, who changed the course of art history with Cubism. You know how he painted, yeah. His opponent was an actor portraying Bob Ross, an artist who, in many ways, is Picasso's antithesis. Now, in an early 1990s era TV personality, Ross taught viewers how to paint. He taught my aunt how to paint very, very well, as a matter of fact. How to paint the sort of sweet landscapes you might see hanging in a laundromat or dive bar. But there's so much more than that. So much more than that. He didn't revolutionize academic art or show in museums, but he did amass a fan base that is arguably as passionate as Picasso's, and maybe even larger. It includes everyone from kids to octogenarians, whatever that means, insomniacs to Hollywood directors and amateur painters to MFA toting artists. Case in point, since the aforementioned video first hit YouTube, it racked up to over 33 million views and almost 90,000 comments. Most of them read like love notes to Ross, not Picasso. Daddy Ross won. Bob can't lose, silly, and I think that we all know in our hearts that Bob Ross and his happy little trees are the ultimate winners. Yes. So, what is it about Bob Ross that's inspired a contemporary cult following that rivals that of the globe's most famous artist? Ross's ascent to fame began with The Joy of Painting. I listen to that every night. I listen to that every night. It helps me sleep. His voice, I have to do it again, guys. The paintbrush, where you beat the devil out of it. A public access show where he famously guided viewers through paintings. And painting things like happy little trees, and he was quick with his brush and clear with his instructions. And there was always no mistakes, always happy little accidents. By the end of each 26-minute episode, he completed an idyllic forest scene. He made it seem so easy. A secluded beachscape, or his personal favorite, a dramatic mountain vista bordered by miniature clouds, conifers, and the occasional soaring bird. Yes. But as pretty as Ross's canvases were, and as quickly as he worked, viewers fell for Ross himself. His permed, that's what he's going to say for the perm, mop of hair was equal parts funny and charming. And crocstick relic, if you may, of 1970s hippiedom. So was his laid-back get-up. The chambray shirt casually unbuttoned to the mid-chest, jeans, his soothing voice, once compared to the effects of Demerol. Demerol? Demerol. And his signature words of encouragement. Like I said before, we don't make mistakes. We just have happy accidents. Ross's accessible traits could make a person feel comfortable, calm, included, and confident. Even today, over 20 years later, after his death and the final airings of The Joy of Painting in 1994, his following remains strong, spurred recently by the availability of all 403 of his episodes on YouTube, and some on Netflix. Thanks, Netflix! Much love, Netflix, and much love, YouTube, for bringing Bob Ross to us. He really empowered his viewers. Artist and St. Joseph University photography professor Krista Swalbones, sorry, pronounced your name wrong, sorry, told me from her home in Philadelphia, I made horrible Bob Ross paintings, but he did really make me feel like anything was possible. And he also made art less intimidating. This kind of tribute is echoed by a chorus of Ross's acolytes. To many, he's offered an unintimidating introduction to art, which they've been able to access from the comfort of their living rooms. Many be far flung from the nearest museum or art school. Take New York-based painter and Spring Break Art Show co-founder Ambray Kelly, who grew up in a small town in South Carolina. Kelly's Southern Baptist parents let her watch almost anything on PBS, a TV station free of the racier content that had started popping up on cable channels like the theme budding MTV. There, excuse me, my nose is still running. There, she could tune in for kid-friendly programs like Sesame Street. We all grew up on that. Mr. Rogers, we all grew up on him. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And she found herself gravitating towards Ross's The Joy of Painting instead. She felt comfortable with Ross. It was his southern twang, his bohemian perm, his jeans shirt and jean pants combo. A native of Daytona Beach, he was more my people, she remembered. He seemed like an optimist, a guy who would never let anything get him down. British Los Angeles-based artist Neil Rayet was also drawn to Ross's show from a young age via television as a kid growing up in London. One of the main things that stands out to me about Bob Ross is his very reassuring, humble, and positive attitude. He exclaimed, "The idea is not so much that he is reaching you, rather that you're painting together." And that is so true. That is so true, guys. Indeed, Ross's welcoming, positive demeanor has become legendary and offers a gateway into art making. He began each episode by inviting viewers, as Rayet noted, to paint with him, not for him or in his shadow. Let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag your little paintbrush with me and paint some paintings and paint along with us each show. He says, smiling wide in one segment. Or just drag up an old easy chair and enjoy a relaxing half hour as we place some of nature's masterpieces on canvas. And he also paint down some simple steps for you too. Ross's world wasn't a pressurized one where productivity or mastery was the goal. He made making art look easy and fun. So true. And with him at your side, it was with this affable, down-home teacher that Kelly began painting. I didn't have access to a lot of art in my small town. His show was my art education, as it was for many, she explained. With Ross's help, she learned how to mix colors, apply paint to canvas, and wield Ross's signature fan brush. Rayet too gleaned some technical skills from Ross, such as perspective and the knowledge that comes with using his palette of colors, he noted. Ross's instructions was based on an age-old oil painting technique called wet on wet, or alla prima, which allowed artists to blend colors fluidly by applying them on top of each other while still wet. It cropped up as early as the 15th century and was adopted by painters like Corregiano, Paul Veronese, and Claude Monet. The process was particularly well suited for short TV episodes, as it doesn't require drying time between the application of different colors. Now, Ross's mentor, Bill Alexander, was one of the first to bring wet-on-wet instructions to television. In the 1970s, he too had a PBS show. It was dubbed The Magic of Oil Painting and ran from 1974 to 1982. Ross had started painting while enlisted in the United States Air Force and subsequently fell in love with making art. After he left the military, he sought out an instructor in Alexander. And when Alexander's show came to an end in 1982, Ross carried on the torch in a promotional spot for Ross's new program. Alexander ceremoniously handed him the brush. Later, a rivalry developed between the two, sparked by Ross's wild success, which arguably eclipsed Alexander's legacy. But why rival? They carried on the torch for you. But despite the vulnerable origins of wet-on-wet paintings, Ross and Alexander before him made the process seem so simple. His toolbox was pared down and simple and accessible. He used brushes that were easy to source in any art supply and craft store, and just 12 paint colors. 12. Titanium white, phthalo green or midnight black, phthalo blue, Perusian blue, dark sienna, Van Dyke brown, Algerian crimson, sap green, Comedian yellow, yellow orchids, an Indian red yellow, and bright red. With each dab or swish of the paintbrush he was using, he also cooed words of support. A phrase as nonchalant as, "Oh, that's nice," could make a viewer smile and happily forge on with their canvas. Instead, amateur painters followed along to construct a scene, the scenes Ross seemed to create so effortlessly. It often took them longer to finish than the length of an episode, but they'd always get there eventually. The accessibility of Ross's teaching method was just one facet of his appeal, though. Just one. Many viewers lapped up his words and applied them to their art practices more conceptually, or to their lives more philosophy. In between instructing pupils to add foam to a wave or needles to a pine tree, Ross would often remind them of their agency. It's your world. We just show you how. But you make the decision. He often said he was there as a guide. He reminded students encouraging them to experiment beyond his palette and style, and to take the painting anywhere they wanted. Phrases like these were confidence building and inspiring, both on canvas and in life. Even after Kelly found a new art teacher and mentors in college, Ross's words of encouragement stuck with her. My biggest takeaway to my current practice, talking to myself, she admitted, when I pull a good line out of the brush or get the light right on the spot or the shadows in the trees, I actually say exclamatory, maybe even congratulatory things to myself, as if Bob Ross is watching me paint. When Sarabanas finds herself in the throes of artist block, she calls on Ross's encouraging, if charmingly cheesy, axisms like, the secret to doing anything is believing that you can do it. I find many of his statements invaluable, especially when I'm at a crossroads in my paintings, in my practice, she explained. She's also found Ross's philosophy particularly applicable to her role as a professor. I've certainly incorporated his positivity into my teaching, she continues. I'm not always as gentle as Bob, but I do believe that anything is possible if you try, and avidly encourage my students to follow their passions and excitement. And he reminded us that art should be available to everyone, and that is true to this day. Art is available to everyone, no matter how you paint. The stroke of the brush, via the makeup brush, or, excuse me 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. And like I said, it should be, you always put, painting should be available to everyone. Other artists like Rayet have been attracted to the populist nature of Ross's show and the art he made. During art school, when Rayet became interested in the idea of the craft and how it related to painting, he was reminded of Ross's practice. I was intrigued by the very craft-like nature of Bob Ross's approach to painting, he exclaimed, of his reintroduction to Ross. The TV painter's step-by-step method was in opposition to the more fluid, visceral notion of art that he was being taught at the university. The idea of placing these rules, the rules around art, a start-to-finish point without much existential dread is in between, was an attractive idea at the time. And I love Bob Ross. He is awesome, and I know there was a university here in Texas that did an homage to Ross. They dressed up in the curly wigs, the denim shirts, as they watched Bob Ross. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love you guys. Make sure you hit that like button, Make sure you comment below if you want more videos like this. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you are aware or notified of new videos that come up. I love you guys. Smooches and hugs. Happy little accidents.